the importance of it is, we need a win so we can get into the playoffs. Obviously, there'll be some speculation, some talk about that. It comes with the territory. It's to be expected. I got a lot of love for the Jets, the organization, and a lot of people that are still there that were there when I got drafted. So for me and this team, it's business as usual. Another week to prepare and a tough challenge for us to go out there and try and get this win. We need it.
Who or what do you appreciate from the Jets time?
Obviously drafted me, giving me an opportunity to be in the NFL, live out my dream. It's a lot of names, too many to name right now, but just my time there, I really appreciated it. Helped me grow as a man. Was a good time for me. It was a time for me to learn and grow in the league, and it was good.
Now that you've been in the league a minute, what was unique about being a rookie starter in New York?
I would say the uniqueness of it was overall just, the eyes on you. It's the media, it's the biggest, in the world, I think, especially in the States. And so just always, knowing that you're being watched, every single move you make, they're looking to, figure you out, whether that's good or bad. And so just for my time there, I just managed in that and knowing that that was probably the hardest it gets in terms of media and everything else like that.
How would you say you've grown, either as a player or as a person, since those early days in New York?
Yeah, I've just gotten wiser. I've grown. A lot of time to, learn and to be able to sit and grow and learn from other guys, be around different coaches. As anyone else in life, as you get older, you just, you get better. If you try to get better, you get wiser. You learn new things, learn about yourself. And so overall, man, just not really changed that much, but I've grown in a lot of areas.
Do you feel like you're much of a different player than you were then, or?
I would say I'm a much smarter player. I have more knowledge than I did then. I was a rookie just learning things and learning as I go. But all those lessons that I learned in that time and throughout this entire span of my career has led me to, be a little different, but not too much.
Was there maybe a narrative that came out of your time in New York that you felt like was unfair?
I can't really say because I didn't really pay attention to the narratives. I just kind of stayed grounded in who I was. I can't really tell you what the narrative was. I know as far as playing, people might have given up on my ability to play this game at a high level, but outside of that, I can't really, speak on that.
You've always kept a good perspective on the way your career has gone. The way you lost that starting job was obviously very odd and not really fair to you. How did you not get bitter about that? In fact, you didn't get that chance to get the job back.
Yeah, I think that was an amazing time for me to, to grow and to become even more of a selfless individual. Obviously we have our own goals, and the way things transpired wasn't in my plans or what I had thought would happen, but it happened. And so, you kind of take the approach, you can't cry over spilled milk. Also being a great teammate to the guys around me, not letting that hinder me from, helping them succeed in any way that I can. And that kind of became my career for a while. It's just being a great teammate and, trying to help guys get better and doing whatever it took to help the team win outside of playing. And so just in that time frame and when I was going through that, really had time to reflect. It's been the first time I hadn't played or started since I was maybe 10 years old. So I've been playing football for a long time, started many seasons, and then boom, something happens where now you got to sit. And was different, was challenging, but also taught me a lot and helped me grow.
How enthusiastic were you getting set to go into that year? I think you'd had a perfect passer rating, a good win in the last game of the last season. Going into year 3, it seemed like you were maybe in a position where you were going to take a step forward, and then for it to just not be there for you for the circumstance and everything. How excited were you going into the year, and then to have it not be there?
Yeah, I was very excited, and I think that's something I held on to, over the course of the years, is that, remembering that, right, like where I ended at that point and where I felt going into that season. I really felt good about where I was and, thought I was taking the next step, and I kind of held on to that, that thought process throughout the entirety of my career. And you're right, I was very excited. Obviously, freak accident, things happen, and, you don't wish for that on anybody, but it was an incredible moment for me to learn, but also to practice resilience and patience. It took a lot of patience, it took a lot of hard work, to even have an opportunity to compete again as a starter, after all that stuff happened. So, I was appreciative of, all the things that I went through, and then obviously, I was able to turn it around and make it a positive.
Ryan Fitzpatrick's been pretty complimentary of you and all that. How was that dynamic kind of with him after, sort of that happened that year?
Yeah, I think we grew a lot closer. The original plan was, maybe he'd be the backup, I'd be the starter, and then things got flipped. And like I said, it allowed me to, really reflect and say, okay, well, what does it take to be a great leader, great teammate? You're not always going to be able to lead from the front. And, as I began to help Fitz prepare for games, I learned a lot because, he's a really smart player. He taught me new ways of studying, new ways to attack defenses, and it was very helpful for me to be with him.
Did you happen to notice when the schedule came out or later on that you played all three of your former teams this year?
I didn't. I honestly don't even look past the first game. I just go week to week. But it's kind of cool. It's kind of cool to be able to do that and to see some old faces, and then go out there and compete and try to win against them. So I didn't get a chance to really see the full schedule, but it's cool that the way it's set up.
How did you lead not from the front? What did you learn to do?
Specifics would be like, let's say, you got a receiver who's struggling and, learning plays or getting the game plan down, taking time with him, talking to him through the game plan, talking to him through his routes and what he would have. I would meet with guys on Tuesdays and Wednesdays in the mornings and, take them through 2-minute drill and a lot of the things that I would normally do but just wasn't going to be able to play. And so, really just helping, becoming a coach. It's kind of how you got to look at it when you're a backup quarterback. You got to become the coach, and you got to try to coach all the guys and make sure the guys are ready to go out there and compete on Sunday. And so just doing whatever I could to be a help.
When you look at this team, there's a lot of familiarity between the Jets and Seattle. Do you see similarities on tape when you look at their defense?
For sure. I see a lot of old faces, a lot of guys who have been in this locker room that I've played with. Then when I look at the defense, it reminds me a lot of San Francisco, a lot of the old Seattle defense where, they just want to run around and hit. They got a lot of physical players on that side, a lot of guys who play with an edge, with a chip on their shoulders, and they play with a lot of passion. So when you look at those guys, it's very similar to what we have here.
You went to DJ Reed in practice plenty of times over the years. What do you see on tape of him now, and what kind of player was he when he was here?
I see the same player, man. Scrappy dude, man. Not the biggest in size, not the doesn't have all the physical stature, but having a great year. Been locking dudes down. He's a smart player. He's very quick in his transition, in and out of breaks, and then he's got ball skills. So you got to be aware of where you throw the football when you're throwing at him. So I appreciate the times we had in practice, and look forward to competing against him again.
When you look at Quinnen Williams, how does he get that much pressure from an interior spot?
Yeah, Quinnen's. Man, he's starting to break out. Really be what they believed he'd be. And when you look at him, man, he's just playing hard. He's very physical up front. He seems to be have a bunch of different pass rush moves. But for the most part, he's just shocking and shedding, and he's probably one of the best at it. He's really just getting hands on the guys and trying to move guys. And so he's another guy that we got to be focused on and make sure we know where he is so that we can protect the right way.
What did you feel like really kind of was the difference in the running game in the second half last week? And if you guys can carry that forward, how much can that help you guys?
Yeah, I think it came down to execution. It really came down to execution, starting with the run checks, making sure we're in the right check. Austin doing a great job at identifying the mic, getting all the guys communicated to where they would be going. And then once the ball was snapped, guys were just firing off. Ken was being decisive, hitting it downhill. Not every run was a big run. We had a couple runs that were 2 and 3 yards, but it kept us on schedule. And so really just came down to overall execution.
Geno, I know you spoke about the standard you hold yourself to. The last 3 games here, the numbers haven't been quite there for you compared to where you were a good chunk of the season. How do you kind of view these last 3 games? I mean, there's a lot of circumstances that go into it, but how do you think your performance has been the last couple weeks?
I view them one game at a time. You don't get to play 3 games at once. So it's one game at a time, and each game has had its own set of situations and things that have happened and things that I could do better. That's really how I view it. I don't really look outside and look at anyone else or what they could do. Look at how I can directly impact the game in a better manner. And so for me, just continuing to, think process over results, go with the right read, the right footwork. It's not always going to work out exactly how it's planned, they get paid too. They have to stop us, and so really just sticking to my process, understanding what I know what I'm doing out there, know what I'm looking at, and then when I go out there and play, just playing hard and doing the right things.
Nice seeing Tyler back out there yesterday.
It was great. Tyler again is a wonderful player, wonderful human being, and we just enjoy having him. What he brings to the table is tremendous.
What did you notice how the Chiefs or a defense played you in the pass game differently without Lockett in there?
It's pretty much been the same thing, man. Guys have been playing us in too high. They doubled DK pretty much the entire game. That's something that we can expect without Lockett out there. They're going to double one of those guys, but it's hard to double both. And so double DK, and really just try to say, hey, you guys got to beat us running the ball. Most teams have been playing us like that. They're just playing coverage. They're not. I watch a lot of film. They don't play everybody else like that. So I think it's the ultimate sign of respect. But also we got to figure out ways to beat it.
You mentioned that some of the runs by Walker in the second half are 2 and 3 yards. Have you talked to him about not going for the home run every time, and that there is value in staying on schedule like that?
Yeah, I think he knows that. And I don't need to talk to him or tell him how to run the ball. He knows how to run the ball, just fine. And so he's a young back. He's learning. He's growing in the league like everyone else. And he's figuring out ways to be himself. And you see where he's cutting back and making explosive runs and making guys miss and doing all those cool things. And then sometimes, it doesn't work out. It's a part of being the player that he is. He's an aggressive player. He believes every run could be a touchdown, and we don't want to take that away from him. So he's just got to continue to learn and grow. We got to help him out as well, and I think he'll be fine.
When you watch the film of the Jets secondary, what stands out about Sauce Gardner?
He's a very tall corner. He's got a lot of range. He's not afraid to come up and hit. He'll tackle. He plays with a lot of instincts to be a rookie. It seems like he's seen a lot of ball. He understands patterns and route concepts, and so very rarely is he out of position. Plays with a lot of swag, a lot of confidence, and it's the type of guy you want to go up against because he's a really good player to be this early in his career. But we look forward to the challenge.
Anything else? Actually, one more thing. As the season kind of winds down, have you allowed yourself to think about your future? Becoming a free agent soon.
My future is going to be great. I always think that. So that's something that if you want to know, I'm always thinking positive on that note. But the future for me is right now, today. Going out there having a great practice and then getting ready for Sunday.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.